First off, your soul isn't anything in your chart. It's separate. Strip everything away, including your body, and what is left is you. That's you, your soul. But when it jumps into a body to start a life journey, it has a purpose and tools. Your sun is who your soul is learning to be. It's your core at this stage. It's who you leave here as. It's like your dad teaching you something until you become him. It's your sole purpose. Your moon is how your mind is processing things during your lessons until you fully become one with your sun. It's like your mum comforting you on the way. Your rising is how your soul sees the world. It's like your soul seeing the briefing for your journey before embarking on it and the suit it's going to wear. The suit being your body. This is where your soul is asking the question, who am I? That doesn't mean you are your rising sign. Like, who am I this time round? So for example, if you're a Virgo sun, Pisces moon, and Pisces rising, your soul is on a spaceship called Pisces, decorated with Hello Kitty and rainbows. Inside the spaceship, your dad is teaching you to be a Virgo. When you're not learning, your mum is comforting you in a Piscean way. So others will see your ship, your rising, and this is why some people can relate more to their moon sign than their sun. Because they can't fully take actions as their sun yet, but they can react like their moon earlier. They're familiar with their moon through their mum, but it's just reactions, it's not actions. That's why some moons can think they feel more of a sign than a sun person of that sign. Think of when you was a kid and got hurt. You fell and cut your knee. Who are you crying to? What energy are you running to comfort you? Your mum's energy, in the typical sense. So in this scenario, it's good because your mum and dad are keeping you balanced. You've got the inner support of becoming a Virgo by an inner Pisces. So how a Pisces sun can teach a Virgo sun some lessons to balance out, vice versa, you can learn that within yourself, if that makes sense. So when your life lesson is complete, your journey is done and your ship lands to get into another ship to learn the next lesson. But before that landing, you become the driver and the actual ship. You embody it all. Just like when we typically grow up and our parents leave us in this lifetime. They've done their job. Now we are who we are. They're not here anymore, but they're in us. That question, who am I, that your soul asked itself at the beginning, I am a Virgo, is what your soul will answer to itself at the end. So when some people not accepting of their own soul's missions are like, it's not just about your sun sign, etc. At the end of the day, look at the sun to the other planets. Your moon, your Mars, your Mercury, your Pluto, your Naruto, your Vichito are tiny in comparison. You embody every single thing from that sign. It's who you will be. They all play a part in colouring you, but the sun will consume all those planets in the end. You can't believe in the stars and ignore that one massive star in the centre. The rest are planets revolving around it. I'll also translate it into a human scenario. Let's say your dad is Jamaican and your mum is Mexican and you're born in Jamaica. You and your mum have to relocate to Canada. Your dad can't come for some reason, so your mum is raising you alone. So in Canada, your mum is raising you as a Mexican. You're eating tacos and tostadas. You got your little sombrero hat. You're greeting your friends, hola amigo or amiga, and all that. Doing the Eddie Guerrero shimmy to Mexican music. Got a Javier Hernandez jersey and everything. But when you and your mum take the odd trips to Mexico, you don't fully feel connected to the place even though you know more about the culture than some of the locals growing there. You feel more connected through your mum's connection to it. You can still relate to them and you look like them, you're just a little mixed. But you're not really like them. Something's different. At the same time, whenever you hear reggae music, you feel a connection. You have jerk chicken and rice and peas at your Jamaican friend's house and it touches your soul every time. The word bomba clot sometimes flies out your mouth for no reason. There's an unexplainable connection there. You know you were born in Jamaica, but you was a baby. You don't remember none of that. Then one day, your dad turns up out of the blue, sees you in your Hernandez jersey and sombrero hat, doing the Eddie Guerrero, and is like, what the fuck? So then you overhear him and your mum arguing. I told you to raise them Jamaican, they're supposed to be the next emperor after me, blah blah blah. And your mum's clapping back, I'm not Jamaican, I'm Mexican, how can I raise them Jamaican? So after a while, you hear weird clapping noises and grunting coming from their room. Then eventually, they come out holding hands. They both tell you you're all going back to Jamaica. Your dad gives you the rundown. You learn there's some emperor in Jamaica and you will take over after them. You and your mum had to be in Canada for a bit because some politics going on. And the dad was in danger, whatever. So now you're back in Jamaica and feel a natural connection. You're learning the culture. Naturally relate to the locals. You're getting called a dirty little blood clot pitney while you're telling others to suck their umma. Your dad's teaching you Jamaican things whilst your mum is comforting your growth in a Mexican way. You still eat tacos now and then. Sometimes it's traditional, other times it's a mix like tacos with jerk chicken, but it's mainly stew chicken, callaloo, ackee and saltfish, fried dumpling, cow foot soup, jerk pork, plantain. Yeah, I'm a bit hungry right now. By the time your parents' time comes, you're the ruler of Jamaica. You took over before your dad even passed. But those who are close to you knows you like to relax in your sombrero hat and make tacos on a Tuesday in honor of your mother. So with the son, there's no time limit on it. You can become your son from early in life or later. It don't matter as long as you get there in the end. But that there's aspects, degrees, house lords and all that other individual stuff, that's when it gets technical and more personal. But that's for the astrologers. But as a basic, that's how I see it. Some will argue that your rising's your soul, or your moon's your soul, or your sun is your soul. And to be honest, I don't deep down care. I don't aspire to be an astrologer. These videos are just one of my creative outlets, and if it helps others in whatever way, then I'm more than satisfied and appreciative. At the end, believe in what resonates with you. So how I see Pisces is, when you are on that ship being taught to be a Pisces, you're also being shown papers from your previous life lessons, as all the signs before it, where you're made fully conscious of your soul. This wasn't happening when you was becoming a Gemini, a Virgo, a Sagittarius, etc. So that's what makes the lesson more confusing. It's not a singular lesson like the 11 others. But it's not really a lesson this time round either. It's more of a duty to the rest of the world. Your soul has free reign now. It's not operating on a human level anymore. Aquarius was the last of that. There's no landing of the ship at the end to change ship for the next level. There's no I am a Pisces speech at the end, because you go back to the creator at the end of this last lesson. You drive that ship back yourself. You drive yourself back to the one true self. That who am I at the beginning of Pisces ends with I am back home. So those Pisces that learns about their self early, you better hope they are good, because when they land on Earth, they have the absolute power to be the lightest of the light or the darkest of the dark. And that power comes from knowing there's a ship in the first place. Knowing they are not from here is what can make them either spread good or bad, because Earth is not a Pisces home. The people are not Pisces people. And the only other sign that is even aware of a ship existing is Aquarius. Pisces is alien energy, divine energy. Aquarius is in touch with this energy. So these videos aren't just for Pisces sun. We've all got Pisces placements, so you can get another perspective on what Pisces is doing for you. Just do not run from your soul's purpose if your soul's purpose isn't to be a Pisces. Don't confuse yourself with bare extra shit and run from being a Virgo. It's your goal. It's who your soul is here to be this time round. There's a beautiful matured level to each and every sign which plays a purpose. I see people running from their purpose all the time. Don't. Embrace that. Sometimes too much knowledge isn't a good thing. I first read my chart around 15, 16, some long page about myself, because I've always popped in and out of astrology. Some things made sense, but most of it didn't. I already knew I was a Pisces and was already doing creative Pisces-like things. The next time I read it was like 25-ish. I'm early 30s, by the way. And it made a lot more sense because by then I'd experienced life more. So I could relate to what I'm reading instead of learning, if that makes sense. But regardless of all the other shit, the dark side of Pisces wasn't elaborated enough. It's always some little paragraph next to a chunk of pink fairy dust. The same way they describe Pisces' good traits, they need to put the dark traits there too as a standard. Every sign has a dark side, but Pisces is just different because Pisces can either be light-sided or dark-sided, or they can switch from either side on a next level compared to the rest. There is way too many examples of this. Seriously, it should be a 50-50 thing when it comes to describing what Pisces you will get as a standard. But in regards to the whole chart, this is also why I think when kids are still growing and they're like 13 reading their chart, they can start doing things only because their chart says they're like this and that and delay their own course. Same for adults who start seeking within and gets into astrology. Whereas another person who doesn't even believe in astrology can just be going through life and ends up embodying their whole sun sign. And they don't even know it until someone who's into it spots it and tells them. They can be like 58, finding out they're an Aries, and they are the most Aries person you could meet in every way. So I think knowing your chart can be a helpful tool to an extent, especially if you've got tough placements, so you have an understanding. But as you go through life, you're going to become your sun anyway. Your sun's going to burn through all that shit. And why is that? Because your soul already saw the blueprint. It knows what it's supposed to do and where it's supposed to go. Sometimes the more you know can make things worse. Your book could end beautifully, but being at the early pages of your book, knowing some ugly is going to take place during the middle chapters, could make you never see that beautiful ending. Think about that. Just stay grounded with it all is what I'm trying to say. And remember, your chart is personal to you. It applies to your soul's journey. But when you become that star, that's when you can really relate to the others around you. Relate, debate, and have your take. I'm not a fully matured Pisces myself. I'm getting there, but I know enough to at least be behind the wheel. So shut your ass up, put your seatbelts back on, and make sure that aisle is clear. We'll be arriving at our destination shortly.